Position the new base gasket on top of the intake manifold and install the carburetor on top of the gasket. To prevent cross-threading, start the mounting bolts in the threads by hand and tighten them securely. Next, tighten the fuel filter fitting. These usually take a 1-inch wrench, so be careful not to over-tighten it, as damage to the carburetor could result. Using the same 1-inch wrench as a backup, use a flare nut wrench to tighten the fuel line. Sealer does not have to be used on these threads, as fuel lines are flared fittings. Reconnect any vacuum hoses, linkages, or wires leading to the carburetor. If you have installed a new choke pull-off, now is the time to use a hand vacuum pump to apply suction to the pull-off and check the opening adjustment of the choke blade. As mentioned earlier, now is a good time to replace the PCV valve, breather element, and air filter. All that remains is to start the vehicle, check for leaks, and make minor idle mixture and idle speed adjustments. Idle mixture can be adjusted by using a vacuum gauge connected to a manifold vacuum port and adjusting them until you reach the highest mark. Idle speed should be adjusted as per the specifications found in the underhood decal or from a service manual. Once adjusted, install the new breather element and air filter. Position the new air cleaner gasket on the top of the carburetor, install the air cleaner cover, and you're done.
Let's review the 5 easy steps for rebuilding your carburetor. Step 1, removal and disassembly. First, remove the air cleaner. Tag the locations of all vacuum lines. Inspect the vacuum and fuel lines and replace any that show signs of deterioration. On steel lines, use the double wrench method and disconnect the fuel line from the carburetor. Remember, no smoking during carburetor repairs and work in a well-ventilated area. Disconnect linkages, remove any mounting bolts, and remove the carburetor from the intake manifold. Remove the old carburetor mounting gasket and carefully clean the carburetor mounting surface. Disassemble the carburetor in an orderly fashion, laying all parts out on a clean work surface. Follow the exploded view and parts numbering sheet provided with your carburetor kit. Before removing the idle mixture screws from the carburetor base, turn them in until they stop while counting the number of turns, and write down this number. Retain all gaskets to match up with the new ones for correct replacement. Step 2, cleaning and inspection. Begin soaking all metal parts in a suitable carburetor cleaner solution. Do not, however, soak any electrical, vacuum, or plastic parts in the cleaner solution, as permanent damage will result. When removing the parts, be sure to get all the excess cleaner back into the container and blow out all air passages with compressed air. Remember to wear safety glasses whenever working with compressed air or aerosol sprays. Step 3, replacement of deteriorated parts. Lay the new parts next to the old ones. Due to technology advancements, the new needle and seat assembly may appear slightly different than your old one. We recommend replacing the float whenever a carburetor rebuild is being performed. Step 4, reassembly and reinstallation. Reassemble in the reverse order of disassembly or by following the steps backwards on the instruction sheet. Using the float gauge supplied, make sure to check the float level adjustment before installing the air horn or float bowl. Also be sure to compare any old gaskets with the new ones to be sure of correct final operation. Reinstall the idle mixture screws and reset them to the same number of turns as noted during disassembly. For best results during rebuilding, we also suggest replacing the choke thermostat and choke pull-off. Reinstall the carburetor onto the intake manifold, being sure to use a new base gasket. Reconnect all vacuum lines, linkages, and electrical connections disconnected earlier. Reinstall the fuel supply line to the carburetor and tighten using the 2-wrench method if it's a steel line. Replace the fuel filter if not already replaced. Plug any vacuum lines that lead to the air cleaner, as final adjustments will have to be made with the air cleaner removed and the engine running. Step 5, final adjustment procedures. Start the engine and check for fuel or vacuum leaks. Refer to a Haynes manual for the specific adjustment procedures involved on your particular vehicle. Reinstall the air cleaner with a new air filter and test drive the vehicle for proper operation.